Okay, we left off on Samach Tes yesterday, page 69, Mesus Shishorim. Honos advor mechlolo. He uses the word verbal abuse. It really means grieving a person. Same thing. Saying words which are hurtful. It's only between two individuals. And you say words which causes the person embarrassment. Meaning even unintentional. We say Adamud Lolam. A person has full liability. A person is walking and he didn't mean to damage another person. You weren't careful enough. The person is considered damaged. He has full liability for the damage he causes. Right? The Gemara says that a person goes to sleep and there are vessels alongside of him. And while he's sleeping, he turns over and he breaks the vessels. Is he liable for damages? So the Gemara said, he's liable. But let's say while he was sleeping, somebody had put vessels next to him. Right? So there was no way for him even to take any degree of precaution not to do it. He's not chayiv. Right? In either case, he damaged it. He did it, he was unaware, but the first one, he should have thought that there is, as remote as it may be, there's a chance he may damage those vessels. Therefore, he has liability. That's Adamud Lola. So therefore, a person says words, and he's not sensitive enough when he says the words, and he hurts a person's feelings, or he embarrasses a person. Some person brings up a certain topic. He didn't know he shouldn't have brought up the topic. And when he brings up the topic, he embarrasses the person, or the person is slightly offended by it. Between the two of them. Definitely, if a person says something intentionally that he wants something to person to be embarrassed, or do and take an action which will cause him embarrassment. Person is about tshuva, say, don't you remember when we used to travel on Shabbos, wherever it was? Or we used to, whatever else we did. And when a person was ill, remember, who's clean enough that he shouldn't deserve to be destroyed? Do you think this illness came for no reason? You're paying a debt. That's what you say to the person. So you're saying the person is a sinner. If, let's say, mule drivers, they're looking for wheat to transport. Right? They're in the transport business. So they say, where could I find clients to transport wheat? Go to so-and-so, he sells wheat. And they know when they're sending there, he's never that's not a location. They're wasting his time, but they're having a laugh on his expense. It's graver. The provision of aggrieving a person through words has a greater liability than aggrieving a person through money, meaning overcharging a person. Aggrieving a person means overcharging a person to say but a grieving person with words says so if it's only between the two of them, he's causing the person to feel inadequate or offended. So what about he publicly makes a statement and he causes the man embarrassment, public embarrassment. A person embarrasses his fellow in a public setting, so good. The postscript said it's only if he does it on an ongoing basis. He doesn't value somebody else's existence. It's not one time in his life. One time's not.
One time can embarrass someone so profoundly that it could. Why is that? Why is it not?
If the intention was to embarrass him and it was really serious, the story I once told over Sosa Lanter. There was a shoemaker in Vilna, became very wealthy. And there was a wedding hall in Vilna where only the wealthy people made weddings. And this person was originally a poor shoemaker, he became wealthy. And the wealthy people in town, and he was Marengov's daughter, and he could afford to have the wedding in the hall where wealthy people marry their children off. The wealthy people were offended. The Schnorrer, he's going to make a wedding where we make the wedding. So it was under the chuppah. Rabbi Yisrael Slanta was to the chuppah, and in public view, one of these wealthy people comes with a shoe with a hole in the sole, and says to the father of the bride under the chuppah, by the way, when could you have this pair of shoes for me? To embarrass him, to tell him that he doesn't belong there. So Rabbi Yisrael Slanta said when he was there, he says he questions whether this man's neshama was at Sinai. If a man could do that to embarrass a person, there's no question. That situation, ein lo chilul mabo. That's premeditated, embarrassing. But if we were talking about mal nechaver b'ravim, because you're not careful enough. You don't think before you speak. But let's say a person continuously, he doesn't think before he speaks, and there's all these consequences. Then, even though it wasn't intentional, but the unintentional is based on what? On not being sensitive sufficiently.
Well, we're saying that an intentional embarrassment of another person is pretty bad. And so,
Once in a case many years ago, here, Alan spoke about the innate characteristics of a Jew. Golmei Chasodim. So I gave a lecture on 63rd Street. It's a full house. Most of the people were non-observant. And I spoke about, that the religious community, when it comes to achnos or hospitality, it's one of a kind. Strangers come, they'll offer them a room, and they'll have them for the weekend, for Shabbos, and they'll attend to the person's needs and talk to the person, whatever it may be. So this person gets up in the back, and he looked like he wasn't observant, and he says, and the way he quoted the psukim, the words, it's clear this man learned in yeshiva. And I didn't say the religious community. I just, it's innate. Gemilas Chasodim is innate in Jews. And therefore Jews do hospitality, he says. So why don't the religious do hospitality? And the Hasidim, why don't they do hospitality? So I went over, I said, in the middle of it, this was during, at the end, so I said, you're a liar. I said, you're a liar. What you're saying is a lie, and you're a liar, and you're slandering the religious community. That's what I said to him. Turned colors. That was the end of the discussion. Comes over to me afterwards, and he says to me, you embarrassed me publicly. That's what he said to me. So I said, I want to ask you a question. Did you ever learn yeshiva? I said, the way you quoted the psukim, the words, it's clear. I don't know if you're observant today, but you were observant at one time. You have a yeshiva education. He says, yes, he does. So I said, if that's the case, the people here are secular people. They have no idea what goes on in Jewish community. How do you make such an irresponsible remark publicly? How do you do it? You know what you said is not true. Well, you should verify whether it's true. Factually, it's not true. I say, something, you embarrassed yourself. I didn't embarrass you. Because I had to respond, and I had to respond because you said something irresponsible. I didn't embarrass you. That was the end of the discussion.
You responded to him privately.
No, openly, publicly, because I had to refute and to whatever it is, to say what he said is baseless. So what did I base it upon about this concept? I based it on a psak of Moshe Feinstein. Moshe, and this was Mipi Hashmud psak. No, it's not. It's printed. There was a person. What was his name? There was a person many years ago. He lived in Switzerland. He was a financial genius. His name was Doug something. I forgot his last name. He even had a political status. He had a political passport. He lived in Switzerland, and another Jew, a religious Jew, went and connived him, stole a lot of money from him, over $1 million. And this religious Jew said to him, in Switzerland, if you violate the law, especially monetary, they could put you away, throw the key away. And this Jew who stole from this person knew it. He says to him, but you're not permitted to take me to a secular court. If you want, go to within Torah. And he knew this person, he knows how to manipulate the dayanim, and There's no way he can win against them. He's a Swiss Jew. He's an American Jew. There's no way he's gonna win over there. So he called me up and said, what should I do? So I told him the Psak of Moshe. Moshe has a Shiloh. Person is an IRS agent. And he goes and he audits a person. He finds out he did the wrong thing. You know, he didn't pay his taxes. So the Jew is not permitted to be an informer, even though he's the employee of the government. So Moshe says that you have to tell the person he has to correct whatever he has, and he'll pay the penalty for whatever he did. It's not that you're going to say that he intentionally, he'll pay a penalty, and he admitted himself, and if he's not willing to do it, then you have a right to inform on him, and he's not called an informer. Why? Because you gave him a chance to make the correction, so that he informed on himself. He put himself behind bars. It's not you put him behind bars. That's what Moshe rules in that situation. So I said, same thing over here. You're not going to Erkos, the secular court. He put himself into the secular court, this man. That's what I said. The moment he did it, the man paid him the money immediately. Immediately. It wasn't even a question he gave him. He wasn't going before a secular court because he had enough evidence that he would have put him in prison. So the same thing over here. Embarrassing. Person makes an irresponsible remark. It has to be responded to. But the response will cause embarrassment. So who embarrassed him? Who? He embarrassed himself. Therefore, it's not a question. To be continued.